Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is Nick from forexfornews.com with a daily analysis. Today is Tuesday, the 30th of April 2019, and time is 10:01 here in the UK. You're looking at a New Zealand JPY daily chart. So let's get into the analysis. Actually, we're going to start with New Zealand USD to kick things off. And where is Forex Factory? I haven't brought that up. One sec. Let me bring that up too. Right, so let's get started. So in Thursday's analysis, I shared a few trades. I shared New Zealand USD, I shared a lot of trades. I can't remember them all. Some of them have been removed because they didn't trigger. I think GBPUSD was on that list, but that didn't do anything, so that one's off the list. But New Zealand USD, I shared a New Zealand USD potential long trade last Thursday, which was from around here. Ended up triggering on the 12-hour. And I think for most of you, it probably hit target. But I think some of you might still be in it. Is that right? Is anyone still in it that's in here today? I imagine most of you closed though. Nice. It did make a really nice move from Thursday to Friday. It just made a really, really nice move. It was a quick trade. But for those of you who are still in it, because I'm pretty sure there are some, do hold on to it. It looks like it could still move up. It's stalling out a little bit, but have a look at these next few candles. See if it can break the high. If the next few candles can break that high, which is possible, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another bit of a run up to this resistance area. New Zealand JPY now, I'm in this one. I missed the New Zealand USD trade and price pushed up quite fast on New Zealand USD. But on New Zealand JPY, we got a bit of a retrace on the Friday. Let me show you. Yeah, see, on New Zealand JPY, we got a bit of a retrace and that allowed me to get in. Whereas New Zealand USD kind of pushed up and it never really retraced. But yeah, I mean, this one's not doing as well. It's another one I shared on Thursday. It's not doing as well, but it's doing okay. It looks like it's starting to move back up now. I did do a pretty big pullback, but it's starting to move back up now. I'm going to hold on to it. Just let it run and see how it plays out. Unfortunately, I missed the good one and I got into the less good one. I wouldn't say it's a bad one. Just out of the two, it's not as good. USDCHF, I'm short on. I entered this one on Friday. This is another one I shared in Thursday's analysis. This one I entered on Friday just before market close. It was around about 4 p.m. or something like that. Reason I entered on Friday is because I thought there was a good chance it might gap down or it might start moving down in the last few hours of the day. And I didn't really see anything wrong with jumping in on the Friday because I didn't think, I thought the chance that it was going to pull back up and get beyond my stop loss was very, very small. Right now, the risk to reward ratio is 1.8, but I'm looking at being in this one over the long term. I want to get in for a move all the way back down. So it is counter trend, but it's counter to a strong trend. But we have to consider where USDCHF is right now. It's at these highs that it really, really fails at whenever it gets there. Now, of course, it could go one step higher to here, or it could even go higher than that. Of course, it could make new record highs. That's totally possible. It could go one step higher to the 1.03150. It's not unheard of. It did that back in December 2016. It did that in November 2015. So it could do that. I could be in for a failed trade here, but I think there's also a good chance that that this is a turning point. And it's worth the risk of getting in because I'm looking to extend that target down to at least this support area here. but potentially even lower to this support area here. And that would be a massive trade. So I'm going to hold on to this one, see how it goes. Anyone in this one? I also shared a potential AUDUSD long on Thursday's analysis. I didn't enter this one personally because I didn't really like it, but I know some of you did, and it was posted to the forum on some of the lower time frames. It seems to be going okay. No surprise it hit this resistance area and it's pulled away, but it looks like it's headed back up. I imagine most of you probably closed out for the weekend, but if you didn't, just hold on to that one. GBPAUD, this is another trade I entered. I closed this one out overnight. I just didn't like what it was doing. Closed it out really early in the morning. So it was with a minor loss around about, I don't know, it's hard to say exactly, but it was a very minor loss. It was something like, where's this line tool? Something like here or here, somewhere around there. Yeah, I just didn't like what it was doing, so I pulled out of this one. Look, the reason is, I know this goes against what I do say sometimes about holding on to your trades, but there was an actual reason for this. It wasn't just me freaking out and jumping out of the trade. This trade is counter to a trend. Price is trending up here. And I know you could argue that the trend line's broken, but I don't really put much stock in trend lines. All I mean is that you can see that it's overall trending up. So price is trending up and I'm essentially entering counter to the trend. So I want it to move to my target quite quickly. I don't want it to kind of stall out. And yesterday it failed to make a new low. Well, technically speaking, it did make a new low, but it was an insignificant low. It broke the lows by a few pips and then just pulled back up. So it failed to make a new low essentially since this candle, since the 26th of April. It failed to actually do anything significant. Actually, no, yesterday, let's have a close. Yeah, so yesterday it dropped down by 1 pip or something, maybe even half a pip. It's insignificant. And then today it dropped down by like maybe another 2 pips. So failing to make those lows, I just didn't really like it. Jumped out of this one. So this one's out with a minor loss. Some people are long on GBPJPY. I should mark this one green. I'm not long on this one. But is anyone who's in the room right now long? This is a good setup, this long. This is another one I shared on Thursday. A lot of the setups I shared on Thursday have ended up triggering. You're in? Anyone else in on this one? I think it was posted to the forum, so I think a few people are in. You're in, Graham. Oh, and you're in, George. So 3 people who are in the room, which means out of all the members, I imagine quite a few are in. I mean, just hold on to this one. It looks good, at least up until here. This kind of area here, where it tends to stall out, hold on to it at least up until there. But that's you got plenty of room to move. You got a pretty good risk to reward ratio. You have a pretty generous stop. Yeah, have 2.3. Not bad. Right, so let's look for new setups. I don't know if we're going to spot anything new today, because a lot of the big setups that we normally, pairs that we're normally trading, a lot of the majors and stuff, they've already, they've already got active setups on them. So I don't know if we're going to spot anything new, but actually before we do that, of course, we need to have a look at the news. That's kind of important. First of all, this is NFP week, so do expect a bit of a slower week, which is pretty normal for NFP. NFP is coming on Friday. It's the first Friday of the month, generally speaking. Actually, I think these days it's always the first Friday of the month. Back like 6, 7, 8 years ago, when the first Friday of the month was very early in the month, they delay it till the next one. But I think it's always the first Friday these days. Anyway, got non-farm employment change, otherwise known as non-farm payrolls. To those who've been trading for like the last 10 years, they changed the name at some point. Today we don't have that much. This one's a bit of a concern. Yeah, that one's a bit of a concern because it's a speech. Speeches are always a concern. But other than that, we don't really have that much. I mean, if you're in a New Zealand trade, this one could have a bit of an impact, but it's also very likely that it has no impact. CB consumer confidence can have an impact, but again, probably going to be minimal, especially on the larger time frames. We've got ISM manufacturing PMI. This one, it's marked as red, but this one only really has an impact when it dips below 50, or if it's already below 50 when it goes above 50. It could also have an impact if it's way off consensus. If it goes from 55 to like 52 completely unexpectedly, of course it's going to have an impact. But generally speaking, the PMI is not really that big of an impact. And then this one we'll just discuss in tomorrow's analysis. The FOMC statement's obviously going to have, or potential to have a big impact. So do watch out for those ones. But we'll talk about those in tomorrow's analysis. Upcoming today, there's nothing much other than this speech. That one's the only one that worries me. The speech is a bit worrying, but you know, I'm not in a CAD position, so I don't really care that much. So yeah. Ooh, this one's just pulled back up a bit. I just had an alarm trigger on my phone. Nice. Yeah, so for CAD stuff, if you're trading CAD, do be careful. I don't think we have any CAD positions open on the forum or amongst you guys in here today. So I think we can just ignore that news. Unless we have any potential CAD trades, which we're looking at now. AUD CAD doing nothing. AUDCHF. Why have I got this here? I didn't enter this. One of my mentoring students entered it. That's why. Never mind. Nothing going on there. There is a short trade that's already triggered, so obviously that's not. That's obviously not a trade that you can take. Nothing on all these. CHF, JPY, yeah. Dollar index. I don't really trade the dollar index. It was just looking at it a little bit. Nothing on EuroCAD. Yeah. Nah, there's nothing that I would want to trade other than the ones that are open. Yeah, guys, nothing I'd want to trade other than the ones that are open. The ones that are open, I'm going to hold on to, but there's nothing coming up. No surprise, really, with all the ones that we have open. Finding new upcoming setups was going to be tough, and it is Tuesday, so Tuesday is usually a bit of a slow day. And it's NFP week, which adds to the slowness, so We'll revisit tomorrow, see if we find anything decent. So yeah, thank you guys for, is there any questions first I should ask? Which pair are you excited about? Not really. I mean, it's not at one of my support resistance areas. Yeah, not really. It sounds a bit. I need to fix up my support resistance areas on Euro USD. Obviously, I mean there was clearly one down here based on all those bounces. So there was a trade here, but might have been a tricky one to enter. Perhaps on the lower time frames it could have been entered. But yeah, right now it's just pushing up through resistance. I don't see much opportunities for a safe trade. All right, well, it looks like that was the only question, so I'm going to wrap this one up, guys. I'll see you for tomorrow's analysis. Tomorrow's analysis is members only. We will be looking for a bigger variety of setups because we can look for members only setups in that analysis. I would expect more things to be happening tomorrow because it is Wednesday, and Wednesday is when things start to kick off usually. So I'll see you guys for Wednesday's analysis. And for everyone else, I'll see you for Thursday's analysis.